rides the open road and Harvey dreams unfold. Mickey barks and Piglet sleeps, Goddess driving fearless steeps. Mountains rise and rivers flow, every mile a tale to show. Sunset glows and stars ignite, guided by her inner light. Christie the goddess on the go, with her love the world will know. Mickey barks and Piglet sings, life is full of wondrous things. Through the forest by the sea, Karina guiding, feeling free. Endless skies and endless laughs, leaving worries in the past. Goddess heart beats wild and true, with her crew she breaks on through. Every journey, every mile, paints the world in her own style. Might gather dirt and rocks and sticks, putting it in glass should do the trick. Christie, Mickey, Piglet ride, words of Karina as the guide.
Go lay down. Go lay down.
Christie the goddess on the go, with her love the world will know. Mickey barks and Piglet sings, life is full of wondrous things.
Go lay down.
By the
Go lay
sea,
down. Go on.
Karina
Go on.
guiding and feeling free. Endless skies and endless laughs, leaving worries in the past. Goddess heart beats wild and true, with her crew she breaks on through. Endless skies and endless laughs, leaving worries in the past. Goddess heart beats wild and true, with her crew she breaks on through.
Hey! I love that.
I love the fact you're having to fight off the dogs. Go lay down. Go lay down.
Right. Yeah, and it's true. Like, I'm fine. They know the second that the live kicks in. They're like, oh, here we are.
Yeah,
We got to be seen. We got to be seen.
yeah, it's like some other creatures I know. But luckily he's eating. But yeah, so wow, so you're not going to be in North Dakota for too much longer.
No. I actually, so Michael is headed to Wyoming. He's leaving Sunday. He's got to go do a little job out there, and he'll be back here on Wednesday. And then we're headed to Colorado, and where he'll be off until September 1st. And then he is actually going to Alaska. He's going to Kaparik, to the northern slope up by the Arctic Circle, and he'll be there for about 8 weeks. And so I'll be in Colorado, and he'll be up there. So I'll be in Colorado with the RV and Shitty Kitty and Mikey and Sweetie McPiglet. And but I've got plans to redo the RV, because see, I'm the type of person who it's better to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission. So I'm just going to do a bunch of stuff while he's gone to the RV, and then he's going to come back and it'll already be done. And like, what are you going to do at that point?
Oh, you would think I would have the hang of typing, but you'd be wrong. Oh, wow. But, just a couple warm-up questions, since, I've always wanted.
Sure.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
Oh. That's a really good question. Probably when people treat me like I'm stupid, or like talk down to me. That's a really big thing for me. Like that fires me up faster than anything. If you're talking about something like really basic, leaving the top off of the toothpaste and letting it just ooze is like, I can't do that. I can't do that. So I think those are probably, if you're looking for a serious one, then that's that. If you're looking for just like everyday stuff, Yeah, that's it.
Okay, makers, what is your biggest pet peeve? I'm kind of interested to see what Todd's is.
There
Um,
you go.
if you could have any historical figure, who would you choose?
Oh man. Oh, that's a toss up between, and you guys want to see how polarizing I am. That is a toss up between Ronald Reagan and Kurt Cobain. Either one of those two. If I could have them both, that would be ideal.
Oh,
But yeah, either one of those two people. I thought that Reagan was super inspirational. He was funny. He had a sense of humor. He stuck to his values. You know, he actually was a Democrat for a very long time
hmm.
and really involved in the Democratic Party, and then became a Republican much later in life. And so I like that he stuck to his values, and he was he's a fellow Aquarius as well. So he was all about making the world a better place and everything. And of course, no one's perfect, right?
Mhm.
But and then Kurt Cobain, because he just, I mean, he is, when I heard the CD of Nevermind, it blew me away.
Hmm.
The way that he wrote songs.
Okay. Well, there we go. Here she is again. The
Did
way
I
he wrote,
freeze? I'm sorry.
the way he wrote songs.
The way he wrote songs, and the way that he was really ahead of his time when it came to like women's rights and sticking up for women, and just like really being there. And he was so intelligent and so smart. I think his addictions got the
Oh, his addictions got the.
his addictions got the best of him. And then I think, of course, his wife was a little hinky at times, so I don't think his life was exactly easy. But I would love to sit down and have a real conversation with him. Plus, he's a Pisces. So, I would just love to sit down and, just listen to him talk.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, it would be one of those two. I don't know that I could pick between one, um, you know, but
That's an interesting. I wouldn't have thought those two, but okay.
there's so much about me, my experiences and things that I've done that you would never guess just by looking at me. Like you would never assume some of the stuff that I read or stuff that I'm into or experiences I've had. You just look at me and you're like, no, 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 no. Wait, what?
It was interesting. I was digging into an NIH study, NIH, which stands for the National Inventory of Hot Dogs, just so we're clear. Uh,
Okay.
National Institute of Health. They did a study on loving others, the impact of compassionate love on
Mhm.
later life psychological well-being, and it was mainly older people that they looked at. And they were
Mhm.
looking at compassionate love, not necessarily romantic love or anything.
Mhm.
And they
Mhm.
found they this thing is so wordy. It's not. It's like somebody swallowed a thesaurus, and then like, okay, now that I have this information, what's the maximum amount of words I can say this? So yeah, it really required a lot, but they found an increase in the feeling of being. Now they found people who are feeling well loved and who express love towards others, not just people who feel loved, but people who express love for others. Older people that, oh, there we go. Yes. People who they asked older people, and it wasn't just the ones receiving love, but also expressing love to others, that they had a marked decline in the odds of trying to decode it because they wrote so bloody long they basically experience less depression, markedly so. And I found that
Hmm.
to be quite. Oh, there we go again. Oh, poor Christy.
It's all right. It's my energy. It's my energy. It's just too much electricity in the room. No, I'm kidding. I'm
Well,
kidding.
yeah, and I've known people who can't. They wear watches, and watches will die.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
people do have
Yeah.
it. And
Mhm.
I've been meaning to ask you your theory on that. Some people have synesthesia. The ability is that the right one? The ability to see frequencies. They see music,
Yes.
vibration.
Yeah.
Music is vibration. Do you think
Hmm.
people vibrate, and that's the why they see auras, quote unquote?
Yeah, so people who have the ability to see music, Dave Grohl has talked about how he sees music and that's how he builds his songs. Is that he kind of sees it and can imagine it, which I think is amazing. Can you? I mean, golly. But I think that yeah, people's auras. I mean, yeah, that could be the frequency that they see. Your aura is more just like your internal light radiating out.
Okay.
But yeah, I do absolutely think that that is why some people are so in tune to that and they can see that. I am not one of those people.
Mhm.
I tried to, they have these little exercises where you could practice and can you see someone's aura? And I can't do it. Just not that cool. But yeah, I do think that there are people that vibrate at such a higher conscious level, just on their own, that they can do that, whether they see it with music or they see it with ours. I think it's whatever you're into, you would be able to see. So, going back to Dave Grohl, being a drummer, for one of the biggest bands in the world, Nirvana, and then starting Foo Fighters and doing that, um, you know, he's passionate about that. So of course he's going to be able to see that. So if
Mm.
you got somebody on the spiritual path, they're passionate about that. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah, I believe people's frequencies and inner lights just shine through. Absolutely. Yeah.
And we were talking about this backstage a little bit. And I was
Mhm.
kind of wondering if you could explain, because I noticed, you can use terms like compassionate love or,
Mhm.
more positive, which I don't think is necessarily a good term, positive feelings or positive emotions, but
Mhm. Mhm.
we have these terms. So, but it occurred to me I do not really have a good definition. I think I know just based upon the context people use it.
He knows. He knows. Hi,
Oh my
baby. Go
geez.
lay down.
What is meant by uh, operating at a higher, or not operating? Well, yeah, I guess operating at a higher frequency. What does that look like to you, or can you give me some basic definition?
Sure. Yeah. So to me, operating at a higher vibrational level is just so say that somebody is going through some trauma, right? And because we all have it. When you're in that trauma and you're feeling really icky, you're in a low vibrational situation
Hmm.
because what's happening to you is abuse, it's unhealthy, and all of that energy is coming in and bombarding you, right? And it's really difficult sometimes to get past that kind of threshold. As you do self work, shadow work, as you learn to work with archetypal energies and you heal yourself, you start moving up. So 3D, okay, is like basic everyday life. Like you and I right now, 3D. As you move up, so 4D, 5D, 6D, la 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 la, that is operating at a higher frequency. So you're literally just ascending. So I think I read somewhere one time that, and uh, so I read somewhere that Jesus operated at like, 8, 9, 10
Hmm.
vibration. So if you think 3 is the starting point, right? Then he was way up here. And just depending on who he is to you. Now, if you're a Christian and you believe in Jesus as your Lord and Savior, totally respect that. I think that's amazing. But that's kind of a guide. So like Buddha was even below that. And so, most people are trying to get like here to like the 4 or 5D. So just as you heal, the way that you see the world changes. You start being able, operating at a higher vibration, is you start being able to manage your empathy and not have your empathy manage you.
Mm.
So you're at a point where you can say, okay, you know what, I'm fixing to walk into Walmart. It's going to be kind of a thing. And so, you're able to kind of rein that in a little bit. And I can't see the comments, by the way, so you'll have to read them out to me if there's something good. But it's, so that's what it is. And as you do the self work, as you get familiar with yourself, and as you do your shadow work and you start working through those things in life that are holding you back, whereas before with me, I would see the situation as, I was treated this way, I was wronged, this happened to me, and it's very much coming from a victim mentality. As you work through that vibrationally, then you look at it and you get to the point where you're like, okay, um, this person was hurt, and this person, this was this person's part, this was my part, and really coming to terms with your part of that. And then that's a move up, and then kind of from there it would be, okay, this is how I can be better helping
Mm.
people. So it just changes how for me, it changes how I see people and situations. So whereas before somebody used to really annoy me, or I would get really mad at people, I now look at them and I can kind of see sometimes their brokenness. I can
Mm.
see, like, my first thought used to be, man, this person is a jerk, and
Mm.
now my thought is, what happened to you? Like,
Mm.
what's going on? Like, who hurt you? Kind of thing. And not in one of those like sarcastic, who
Yeah.
hurt you ways, but one of the, and I think then once you can see that, then you can just relate with them on a completely different level. It allows you to connect with people in a way that people that are at very low vibration don't
Mm.
do. So, and you go back
Okay.
and forth,
Mm. Sure.
and again, you can't always be in 5D, right? Like, you can't always be in this high vibration, because we have earthly bodies, right? I
Yeah.
mean, we have a body, and we have jobs to go to and bills to pay and things to do. So, I think it's also, being in high vibration is being able to balance that, to know
Mm.
when you need to be in that situation of, I'm at work.
Mm.
So, I need to work, and I need to be as high vibrational as I can, but, like, and then, maybe when you go to church, or, you are in nature, whatever that looks like for you, that's a little more high vibration, right? So people who go to church, you prepare yourself, right? Like, you get dressed up really nice, and you mentally and physically prepare yourself to go in to, um, have teachings taught to you, whatever those
Yeah.
teachings are, whatever they look like for you, so that you can learn and grow. So
Mm.
did that answer your question?
That sure did, and it was amazing, that answer, because I never thought of it in those terms, and now I think about it,
Mm-hmm.
I think I remember you leaking little parts of that out to me before in Carol's needing a meeting, because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's the example you named. It's one of the things that Chase Hughes teaches, as seeing people as reasons. There's a reason for their
Right.
behavior. They're not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily meaning to be a. You don't look at the jerk in the D
Right.
bag driving the truck with the testicles hanging off the back of it, and the rebel flag flipping everybody off, and you don't look
Right.
at that. You look at, wow, what happened to him to cause
Mm-hmm.
him.
Mm-hmm.
Was there an event where he looked in the mirror after his dad yelled at him and said, "I will never be vulnerable again"?
Right.
You're
Right.
able to give just the
Exactly.
finger now, just the finger. Wow. But yeah, I
You're
mean,
doing good.
I find that really interesting, and something I can actually grab a hold of. Jimena
Mhm.
writes, people who are aggressive, violent, etc., are in lower vibrations. While you start
Mhm.
healing, your vibration starts to move up, and it's not you don't get angry, it's you
Mhm.
manage anger better. And then she goes on to say it's just an example, but um yeah, and that's something I know. We were talking about
Mhm.
shadow work earlier,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
that is something my shadow self wants to. Oh, I want to dig in. I so want to fight, even though my conscious mind knows it will make me
Right.
miserable.
Right.
It's the whole thing of resentment causes stress. And then, what was it? In the Cleveland Clinic Health Essentials magazine, they talk about, yeah, these some of those events that you named, being taken advantage of by others, being put down,
Mhm.
feeling inadequate, having
Mhm.
unrealistic expectations of others, the world around you, maintaining relationships with people who insist their needs are more important than your own, and basically a lot of those negative experiences.
Mhm.
If we do not tackle those, it will start to become resentment. Resentment then causes
Mhm.
stress, which,
Right.
resentment, anger, hostility, hate, bitterness, discomfort, distaste, disgust. And then, of course, stress in the body affects your muscles and joint, your hearts and lungs, skin and hair, even gut,
Mhm.
shoulders, head, and jaw, clenching and getting tension headache,
Yes.
immune system, reproductive health. I didn't need to hear that one. Sleep, weight gain. Lovely. Thank you. And of course, your mental health. So,
Right.
yeah, being able to manage that is a really important thing. And one of the
Mhm.
things that they point out, and I think you said this as well,
Uh-huh.
starting a spirit of, what do you call it, gratitude. And then, of course, that meaning
Yes.
a gratitude journal. I've said it again. It's amazing how much you see journaling coming up constantly in everything. But
Right. Right. Right.
how how do you find that you were able to start on this journey? Because I mean, that was one of the things that you talked about not too long ago, where you're saying, you're with your ex, that now,
Mhm.
you know, this person caused you a lot of pain, but now you you wish them well, you wish them success, and that has got to be so good for your inner person, your soul, whatever term
Mhm.
you want to use. That has to be really helpful to deal with. How? In the name of, I'll say it, Zeus's butthole. Yes, I invoke Zeus. Odin. How in the name of Odin's butt
Odin's good.
do you get that? How did you start that?
It's I was so angry when I left. For a lot of different reasons. And I just carried it around with me. And I was forgiven so much by so many people. And to me, it was just, how can I not be forgiving when I've been forgiven all of this? And you guys, some of the stuff that was done was really, really gnarly stuff, right? And I just realized that the best revenge I could have was to go live the best life I could live.
Hmm.
And it started out as that. It started out as me just like a big, you know, middle finger, like I'm gonna go to college, I'm gonna get a degree. No man is ever gonna control me again. I do not plan on ever being that financially dependent on somebody. And then it kind of got to the point of this isn't healthy. Like, this obsession with this is not healthy. And it just wasn't allowing me to heal. And it really came down to, you know what? Whatever I put out into the universe is what I get back.
Mm.
And what good does it do me? Like,
Hmm.
what is the benefit to me to carry around this grudge, to not forgive this person, to keep that in my heart and soul. Like, how does that help me be better? It doesn't. It doesn't help me, because it's just anger that's like a weed, and it just takes over and it festers. And then plus I look at things a little differently. I look at life as, I believe in reincarnation, and I believe in soul contracts, and I believe that there are lessons that we are here to learn, and that there are people that have to teach us those lessons. And sometimes those lessons are not easy, and but we have to learn them. And now, that doesn't excuse violence toward people. Okay, that is not okay, and you should never, like, beat the snot out of somebody and be like, this is part of your soul contract. No, that is not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, part of my mission here, in this world, is to help people, to help them navigate these difficult relationships, navigate leaving these relationships, learning how to set boundaries, learning how to stand on your own power, like showing people this is one way you can do it. And I wouldn't know how to do that if I didn't go through it, right? Like, I can't tell anybody how to be a helicopter pilot, because I'm not one, right? So part of what I'm here to do is to help that. And the only way that I can really help somebody is to have experienced that. So I look at it as, yeah, it was bad, and I'll never forget what happened. And but it put me where I needed to be, and it taught me the lessons I needed to learn, so that I could help the stages of the world, to help others. I've helped a lot of people as they left narcissistic, abusive relationships, toxic relationships. I wouldn't know how to, it's kind of like being a mechanic. You can't be a mechanic if you've never worked on a car. Well, if anybody's ever worked on a car, you've shocked yourself, or not gotten the spark plug in right, or dropped a wrench on your toe, like it's just that kind of thing. So really, for me, how I see it now is that, had I not gone through that, I wouldn't have the experience to do what I do, which is also helping people,
Wow. Interesting. So you use your experiences, your negative experiences, in quote. Poor sweetie.
Right.
You use your negative experiences as something which you can use to help others. That's a that yeah that's
Yeah,
a
I look at
really
it as, I,
that's a really good
I look
tool.
at it as, yeah, I look at it as taking the unhealthy and turning it into healthy. So now, again, I want to say, I don't condone or say anybody, like, deserves to be treated badly, because no one does. But yeah, that's part of it.
I apologize for being late, guys. I am so sorry for cutting you off. My camera, I'll turn it
Yeah.
on in a second. I literally just stopped my last meeting, so coming into this one right away.
Well, no hurry, no
Perfect.
hurry. Oh, greetings, Chris and Melinda. Um, that is so interesting. Do you find? I imagine you probably do, because you're still, even though you're a goddess, you're still human, at least in this form. Oh, but do you? Of course, you probably still find yourself slipping. Am I
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay.
Oh yeah,
How?
I mean, I threw cheese at my husband, so yeah, I slipped.
I forgot about the cheese. I
Oh
don't know.
yeah.
He's checking Hobbit
I
on
have,
YouTube.
yeah, I have a temper. Like, just as nice as I am is just as serious as my temper is.
Is
Like,
there? Well, is there any tools that you use to cheat cheat codes, whatever hacks that you use
Uh-huh.
to get back when you find yourself slipping?
I call Station. I'm like, oh my God, do you know what? And I rant. And she's like, I had no idea.
And half of it is, I had no idea your temper was like this. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
No, I mean it's true. It's true. When you first kind of experience it for the first time, you're like, oh wow. But no, I mean really, like, we are still human and we still have those emotions, and you still have to get those emotions out, right? Like they don't. When you just suppress your emotions, anger or whatever it is, it builds. It builds and builds and builds, and then you become a pressure cooker, and then next thing you know, like you're exploding at the lady in Walmart who sneezed, and you're unloading all of your frustrations from life on this poor person who's a cashier at Walmart, so you do have to get that out. So as long as you do it in a healthy way, and that's a very Native American thing to do, by the way. Like, they go out and yell, go out and get a drum and beat it, or, whatever you have to do, you've got to get it out of you. Run as fast and as hard and as far as you can, and get it all out. But you have to expel that energy from your body. And then just like, when we talked about, clearing, so you get all of the negative out. Well, now you have to fill it in with positive. Okay. So you've ranted and you've raved and you've carried on, and, you've turned into Forrest Gump and you've run across the US twice, so then what do? Well, then you find a way to be of service, or you love on your dogs, or you give somebody a hug, or, you and your best friend laugh at the stupid crap that you just said, because, you're like barely 5'2", and how are you going to beat up a 6 foot tall person? Like, well, I mean, that would be hilarious. But, I mean,
Spider monkey is what comes to mind.
Yes. But you do have to get the energy out. So I would say the biggest thing is just expel the energy in a healthy way, working out, writing, stomping around your yard, and then finding a way to ground yourself and bring in some love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure. That makes sense. Yeah, and that was so interesting. That was one of the things, of all people, an eye doctor taught me. You get wisdom from the strangest places. But he was
don't you?
He was an older guy, jacked up, like he was freaking yoked. I mean, bodybuilder.
Right.
And one of the things, I don't know why he even told this to me. He's just out of the blue. He's checking my eyes, and he said, ducks, when they get stressed, they have to express energy. And what you'll see ducks do when they get scared or something, and even after it's gone, you'll see them flap their wings on. They're not even flying. They'll just flap their wings for a little bit. They're expelling that energy. He said, we need to do that too from time to time. And, you can even lift weights, you can ride, you can do whatever.
Yeah.
And then he went right. It's like he was visited by something. He blurted that out, and then he went right back to A, B.
Right.
There's no freaking difference. A, B.
Right.
But yeah, I just found that to be so fascinating. But yeah, that is a good, and then the reason why I'm asking, these questions is thinking about it, I have used that tool, but I have not used anything positive. And I do find myself adapting to better habits because, internalizing really worked well. It's really done a lot for me.
Right. That's healthy.
How's that working for you?
Oh my goodness.
Plantfreak, welcome.
Hi. Yeah, now you can see me. I needed a minute to perfectly ground myself because I 100% want to be here. Life just kicked in. So I apologize, chat. I apologize, viewers, but I'm here.
Yes, Plantfreak. A lot of people don't realize this, but she invented the rotary engine. A lot of people will say, Okay, I have to address this. A lot of people say it was some guy Wankel like in the 1800s. Or don't go spreading misinformation like that. We all know. So my cockatiel was named. Wow? I just have to address this. It's just caught my eye. My cockatiel was named Sonny. He would yell, "Sonny is a good boy," while he did a bit of the fire. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I had a cocktail. It used to sound like the microwave. You'd hit a button, beep, and he'd beep. You'd beep, 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 beep. I'm going to put you in there. Oh, no.
This is why I have
Higher
never
vibration.
followed up on my I want a parrot or something that talks to me feeling, because I'm like, I realize that my new transition into life here, like life on my own, is I realize I really need silence. I really, really need silence, because with ADHD, you get overstimulated very easily. And with overstimulation, it depends. I can't say it just depends on gender. It depends on person as well. But that's when my overstimulation can look like anger.
Oh.
Yes. So it is common from what I'm aware, and I can't give you a study. I'm on Ben's channel, so I feel like I need to have studies ready. But I can't give you a study, but I can give you experience saying that as soon as I'm overstimulated and at that pressure cooker point that Christy was talking about, it very much looks like anger. And I'm not mad. I'm not mad at anybody. I'm overstimulated. I need a minute. Give me my minute, and then I'll come back. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you? We were talking about operating Satan level 26. No, we were talking about operating at a higher vibration. How do you? Is there anything that you do, Plant, to help keep you in that mindset of? Is there any little tricks or hacks you do, or do you just do journaling? Or
for me, it's been art.
Art.
I need to stay creative. So kind of getting back into me from the situation that I had left. I had lost completely who I was, lost completely what my interests were. And not only that, when I knew I was good at something, I always needed the other person's approval. Always. Yeah. Because if there wasn't approval coming from there and at least something good that I was doing, then I struggled really, really hard, and I lost connection with everything and a lot of people. For me to stay in I wouldn't even say I'm the highest vibration, but I'm definitely higher vibration than I was. I need to meditate nightly. I need to be able to clear my head and be able to get a good night's sleep. It sounds pretty basic, but that is the only way that I can keep myself from having an overstimulated day the next day. Because I could be sitting here by myself, not a problem, and all just one slight thing, an email comes in and I have to send it, and it's overstimulation. Because I don't just think about sending that email, I think about all of the other things that are attached to sending that email. Why did they ask for this? What needs to happen next? What is the next 3 steps that are going to come, because I need to prepare so that it's easier for me? Or Christy got this a couple of days ago, if not yesterday, actually. I'm like, am I being like really crazy having to call and follow up and say, I'm just calling to give you the confirmation number on something that I submitted online, because I'm afraid that it's not gotten to them. I think that far ahead, and I'm thinking of every little piece in between. That's a part of my ADHD. It is also, I'm understanding more that part of that is a trauma response, because I needed to prove for so long that I was doing something, that I was doing the things I said I was doing. So now I have to completely ground myself to not think about that. Meditation helps every single night. I'll be honest, jumping on and doing a stream, it helps me, because then it's just like, well, I'm talking about this topic, I'm giving my experiences, but instead of losing the positives in my experience and focusing on the negative, now I'm forcing myself to focus on the positive.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm lucky I have that ability to just be like, we're going live, Christy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because that, I mean, and I think as I expressed earlier, this is something that I've had an issue dealing with. Anger, especially, is something that I've had an issue with, and I'm always trying to pick up any tricks anybody uses, and I find that by
Mm-hmm.
exposing myself to that, I'll start doing it instinctually. After you talk to somebody
Mm-hmm.
and give it long enough, you start
Mm-hmm.
operating on,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, this person, yeah,
So
and
on the
you can start pick
anger
up.
spectrum, though, I have to use the 1 to 10 scale. So what that is for me is 1 is like, okay, I dropped my pen and I'm angry. I'm angry. I have to bend over and pick up my pen. You're making me move.
Right.
Or 10, I'm literally physically back to where I was. I have to apply a 1 to 10 scale on my frustrations and experiences and traumas to be able to say, okay, this is more like I dropped my pen. This is not me full blown back into the past.
Sure.
And then that kind of helps me go, okay, so how is the better way to deal with this? Then I'm able to think about it. And I can't, and I apologize, guys, that I have to be so vague sometimes. With some of the systems that I am juggling, it is very hard not to have things feel personal, which then turns it into anger for me. So it's like, well, now I feel like I am back where I was. But is that a feeling or is that a reality? And then as soon as I realize that it's the feeling, now this is where I have to go through some of my addictions manual, essentially the manual that I've thrown together over the last 10 months for myself, just saying, this is the feeling that made me use. Am I going to use? No. I literally have to go through this every time. Am I going to use? No. Okay. What worked last time? What calmed me down last time? Did I sit down and start drawing? Did I start being of service to somebody? What was my step? And a lot of the time it's just creativity. I find myself behind my computer just being like, what can I create right now? Because with Canva, for example, I don't have to make something look amazing. It's already there. It's a sticker. I get to place it on the screen, essentially. I have to be in a very calm, centered place to be able to get a blank piece of paper and draw something.
Yeah. Yeah, and it makes sense. I was just realizing as you were talking about that, I hate to use this example, but I will because it's in my head. My often too thick head. But Johnny Depp, when they were in the Amber Heard trial, the whole thing, his if you look, a lot of time he's sitting there doing something, and a lot of people think he's jotting notes. No, that his attorneys had him just sit there and write or draw anything. Doing that, get your thinking brain involved. And what's interesting about the creative process, of course, you're talking, if you're working with the creative process and also have to work with words, you're using, you start using both sides. So, that is really an interesting tactic. I didn't think about that.
I'm still having a very hard time getting back into music. The slightest little wave of having to use my 1 to 10 scale, and I find myself backtracked. I can't even say backtracked. But I get myself open again a little bit to music, and then something happens, and I'm like, I can't. I can't. Yeah. But I don't know if this is everybody, but for me specifically, music connects too much to my soul. Music connects too much to my emotion that I'm not able to detach myself enough without fully detaching myself to be able to work on what it is that I'm dealing with. Whatever emotion it is, whatever situation. And if I listen to music, I just go and go and go, and I can't get myself out of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do recognize some of that in me. I'm not that bad, but yeah, I can get going, and if I listen to the right music, I cannot sleep for hours.
Mm.
Yep.
I get so charged up, and but yeah, so that's interesting little interesting tricks there. That yeah, because that's mainly when I talk about high vibration. I'm mainly coming at it. I mean, because I realize there's probably multiple dimensions to it. You're not talking just
Right.
higher as opposed to anger. You're probably talking,
Right.
greed, anything quote negative. So yeah, but yeah, that's very. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, I can grab a hold of that. I find.
Well, and there's one other thing I thought of too for people who have to think their emotions, because I don't feel my emotions always. Like, for me to be emotional is very rare, because I try to keep myself really in check. But one of the things you can do if you're having a hard time, if you're really stuck, is get to the root of why you're angry. So, how are you feeling? Okay, I'm feeling blah, 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 blah. And then just keep asking yourself, why? Why are you feeling this way? Okay, why? Okay, why? Or, okay, so what now? Not like, so what, but okay, so what now? And when you can kind of do that and get to the root of it, and you can have an understanding of why you're angry, then you can process and deal with it. If you can get down to the root of it and say, I have abandonment issues, then you can learn how to manage this. Guys, hold on. Everybody's walking their dogs. Give me a second.
The buddy dogs are having their fun. So actually, something that I want to say here to the Kristen Melinda comment. So sorry, guys, if I start looking to the side, it's because my laptop is over there and I'm not set up like I normally am with the other channel right now. That's my own fault. I was running behind, so I apologize.
No.
So Kristen Melinda said this is really helpful to listen to because she had some behaviors that she didn't realize had addictive qualities to them. I like the idea of sitting and giving a voice to the feeling. Now, I challenge you and I encourage you at the same time to not just give it a voice, give it a name. Because when you are unable to shake it, you can say that name and say F off. That may be a very extreme way of doing it sometimes, but I find that certain emotions for me, I cannot get to the root of the first time it comes up, the second time it comes up, the third time. And the only thing I can do is just tell it to leave. And the most healed way of saying that, and I didn't say it in the most healed way, but that is acknowledge the thought, the feeling, and then just let it go away. No, I have to tell it to F off.
You know what, though? There is something to that, because everything has energy behind it. And so your energy of being in that and like, it gives it power. So I think another misconception is that your shadow is bad, or unhealthy, negative. And your shadow's not, because, it's just like our ego. Our ego is what keeps us alive. Our ego is what, causes us to do things. Egos are not unhealthy. Overinflated, obnoxious egos are absolutely unhealthy. But to just, kind of think of yourself or, something like that's not unhealthy. Your shadow isn't unhealthy. It's how you manage it. And so, we all have those shadow sides. I have them, believe me. Now I'm sure I look like a little, angry Tinkerbell and Peter Pan when I'm mad. But in my mind, I'm like Arnold Schwarzenegger showing up here, like that's what I think I look like, but I know it's not. Because even my husband's like, oh, you're so cute when you're mad. I'm like, but, but, it's frustrating when you're really, really mad and someone's like, oh, you're so cute. You're just like, Yeah, I'm going to show you how cute I am. But no, I'm kidding. But you know, even having that, like, maybe somebody just ticked you off to the point that you're like, okay, I'm going to think this through in my head. You know, I'm so mad. I want to, you know, I don't know, throw cheese at him.
Oh, we got to cheese.
Oh well, yeah, she was. Yeah, there she is. I'll go ahead and grab her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was dropping out earlier quite a bit.
Oh
Oh, there she is.
Am I back?
You're back. What are you on? Data, hotspot, park.
I'm on the RV park stuff, but because it's 4, most people are getting and coming home, and I'm afraid to switch to data because that is like I'm at the limit of my.
Indeed.
There's that.
She's at the limit.
That. Yeah.
That's what the limit.
I'm at the limit.
You've seen what the limit is. Yes.
Yeah, I'm at the limit of my data, and I've got a hotspot, and we've got the RV Wi-Fi, and it just is. I don't know. I might go sit in the vet if it comes down to it. Did you guys know that the Corvette has its own it's its own hotspot?
Wow.
It's got its own Wi-Fi. Yeah. You know, Molly is swanky. Little redheaded car she is. So.
Well, that's yeah, that is definitely you know, some good tricks. I find a lot of the stuff that I do is more in the moment, but of course then you get out of the moment. Okay, how can I keep my thinking brain engaged? You're doing those simple things like you know, at the time you're writing, even if you can't write, if you're in a meeting, you can curl, you know, you can't do a lot of things. You can curl your toes in your shoes. That will, believe it or not, that will help. That'll help your thinking brain. But yeah, you still come away and, you know, okay, you come away from that meeting and you're still, that piece of blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So yeah, and that is where a lot of course, we've already talked about, you know, gratitude journal keeps coming up. Doing the creative grounding. I never would have thought to even try that, honestly. But
and you know, box breathing is a great way too to get yourself out of your emotional mind and into your wise mind. I learned that in DBT, and I mean, we're always breathing. So you know, it maybe you don't close your eyes and you just box breathe with your eyes open, but it's physically proven that it slows down your heart rate, it slows down your blood pressure, it just slows you down. And you know, I mean, the number one universal law is that no one is perfect. No one is ever going to be perfect. We are all created beings. We were not created perfect. So please give yourself grace and understanding when you don't handle it right? Like, and so, okay, so you mess up. So you mess up and you lose your temper and you throw all of the cheese and the meat in the fridge at your husband. You know what? You can still apologize for that at the end, right? You can be like, look, I'm really shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. And then you can laugh about it. And he can be like, hey, I didn't know you had such a good arm. You know? So, I mean, you know, it's that too. So when you do fail at it, when you do, you know, slide, so did everybody. Like, you know, it's the one universal law.
And when it comes to breathing specifically, in my experience through going through a program called Recovery Management by the government of Quebec, a lot of the issue that people have doing it around other people or in public is that somebody's going to recognize that they're doing it and that they're a messed up individual, and now they start being judged. The fear of judgment starts coming in, or I look like a complete, again, it comes into fear of judgment, but I look like a complete and utter psycho standing in the middle of Walmart doing my breathing. And to be honest with you, the sessions, like the person who runs those sessions, she had a wonderful idea that I had never thought about. And like she had mentioned that she told a client to pick up a bottle or something off of the shelf in front of them and to look at the ingredients on that bottle and breathe while you're looking at each of the ingredients. And I feel like you can apply that into a meeting setting. You're going to have papers in front of you. You're going to have a laptop. You're going to have a tablet. You're going to have a screen that's got a projection of their whatever they're trying to tell you, their presentation. There we go.
Right.
You know, you've got something that you can look at and just don't read it. Just read the word. Don't think about the word. Don't think about what's coming after that next word. Just read the word. That's 1 second. Read the next word. That's the next second. And with Christie's version of breathing, which would be more box breathing, that's 4 seconds in, hold for 4 seconds, 4 seconds out. My suggestion is do not apply this to anything that's timed for longer than 30 to 40 seconds because I get really lightheaded.
Oh, yeah. Don't hyperventilate because you will totally do that. Yeah. We don't want you hyperventilating.
To the recovery management, which is 2 minutes, and their version is breathe in for 5 seconds, hold, and then breathe out for 7 seconds. But we do this exercise and repeat that sequence for 2 minutes. And I find that helps because for 2 minutes, I'm disconnecting. And there's been a couple of times where I've now been out in public and I've taken that advice and I've been like, I'm looking at that sign. That sign is interesting. I am reading one word of that sign for every second.
Right.
And I find that helps a lot.
Yeah, and that's pretty good too because it's also keeping it's doing both ends. It's calming you through the breathing. It's keeping your thinking brain involved by reading. Jason P. writes, good evening. I'm at Comic-Con with Crafty. She's selling stuff, but wanted to pop in the chat and let you all know I'm in the background. Much love.
Oh, glad you're here. Glad you guys are there.
Wow.
Oh my God, get in contact with me. Whatever you're selling, I'm curious. Whatever she's selling, I'm curious. Says the person who's addicted to Star Wars and every possible anime.
Yeah, no, I was kind of surprised. I was talking to not Greg, no, not Scott, but Greg, the other guy on top of the behavior panel. He was telling me that he goes to Comic-Cons a lot. Well, he doesn't go. He went to a couple just to people watch, and he said it is the most interesting environment. If you want to do anything, just sit down and just watch people because no matter what it is, you'll see it there. And he says some of the people in cosplay are just fantastic. He said you can just admire the work, and then of course you have a lot of the odd people. It's kind of wow, okay. But yeah, I found that that could be an interesting exercise. And I imagine Comic-Con, that was Dragon Con he was talking about. Comic-Con's pretty much the same way. Yesterday somebody told me, or Chris and Melinda writes, yesterday somebody told me 4 seconds was too much breathing. I said they could do 3 as long as it's slower. Yeah.
4 seconds was too much.
She shared some pics of some awesome stuff on Facebook. Crafty makes awesome things. Yes, she does. That was
very nice. I'm going to take a look. Exciting. Oh my dear word. Yeah, I need any more little trinkety thingies to show how nerdy I am because, I've come to the point where I think I've told Christy a couple of times, there's a meme going around Facebook. It's a cat looking down at a dog. The dog comes up to try and kiss it. It's like me thinking I'm ready to date again, and the cat starts kung fu fighting the dog's muzzle.
Right.
And I'm like, that definitely feels like me. But do I really need people to walk into my home and then be like, look at all of your nerdy shit?
Look at the Star Wars stuff.
Christy, I was kind of interested, and this is one thing I need to dig in with Shannon Smith. She's got an interesting furry story that I'd like to hear about. Furries in a hotel, so I'm fully planning on digging in on that. But Christy, please enlighten us. Asylum, camping, Why?
Oh, yes. Oh, God, y'all, are you ready for a story? Woo!
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do the Golden Girls thing because I'm about their age. Picture it. Napa, California, 20, whatever the hell it was. I don't know. Don't remember the year. Anyway, so we had decided we were going to tent camp in Napa. Okay. And we found this gated, like RV park campground that we could tent camp in. And it was right next to wine country. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Napa, Napa, California is where they grow all of the grapes for the wines, and it was harvest season, and it smelled so sweet. It was so beautiful. We had this amazing place. You know, we were tent camping, and so I had my head shaved at the time. So like G.I. Jane, like like Sigourney Weaver, like gone. It was gone. And we had to go to the laundromat down the road to wash our clothes, you know, because, well, we were living in a tent. So every time we would go there, we would see all of these people like kind of come out from this beautiful stucco building, like 1800s. It was beautiful. You could tell it was like really ornate and everything like that. And I was always looking at it, and I'm a photographer, and so I love to capture moments because it's how I share my journeys of like my adventures with people. So my husband, he worked 12 hours a day, and so you know he was gone. And so there was so where our tent was, so we had our tent, there was this little like chicken wire fence, y'all, that like I could jump over. So it's like this tall. And then there was like a ditch, and then a dirt road, and then there was like this police car that just drove back and forth all the time. And I was like, oh, how nice is that? We're in Napa, and we're in this gated community, and they're patrolling everything, and this is so sweet, and there's this beautiful stucco building over here. So one day I got all dressed up in this like really flowy bohemian white dress that I loved, and me and my shaved little head and my camera, and I start walking down, right? I'm having to hoof it, and I get to the like ranger station, because you had to check in and out and everything. And they're like, Christy, where are you going today? And I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. I am going to go to that gorgeous stucco building over there, and I'm going to walk around, and I'm going to take some pictures. And I'm just so excited to see it. I see people walking in and out of there all of the time. And like, I'm really excited to see some of this beautiful, you know, old California history. And as I'm talking, the lady's face is going, and she's getting more and more horrified, right? And she goes, oh, honey, no. And I'm like, why not? It's okay. I mean, I explore places all the time on my own. It's okay. And she goes, no, honey. That's the state hospital. You guys, I did not know that she was talking about, I thought she was talking about like the hospital where people who were on state insurance went to go get checked out because they broke their arm or whatever. Okay. I'm not always the brightest bulb in the room. Okay. So I'm like, no, it's okay. It's okay. It's just a hospital. It's sick people. It's all right. Not a problem. And she goes, no. That is the state mental hospital for the criminally insane in the state of California. The people that cannot be in general population, like the Charles Mansons and the Ed Kempers of California, they're there. And I'm like, oh, I go, oh my God. And I'm like, wait a minute. No. I'm living in a tent. There is nothing stopping somebody coming in and cutting a tent up. But in my mind, I've got like horror film things going on. And I'm like, you mean to tell me the only thing that's separating the criminally insane in California from me is a dirt road and a chicken wire fence and a ditch? Like, I'm sorry, no. And she's like, she goes, no, it's okay. She's like, there's like 60-foot razor wire, like, you know, floodlights, everything like that. She goes, it used to be a sanitarium back in the day. So where all of the wealthy people went who were having mental issues, that's where they went and stayed. And then at some point, the prison system in California got overran, and they thought it would be a good idea to ship all of these people off to Napa, which is like bougie AF, right? Like Napa is not it is not Hicksville, right? Like this is bougie. So I'm at this point, I'm like, oh my God. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going back to my tent now. So then I got my laptop out and I Googled it and then did all of the research of like how bad it was. It was so bad there in 2012. The state of California had to step in because there was inmate on inmate violence and inmate on doctor violence. And like, it was bad and people were so anyway, Michael gets home that night. And I'm like, do you know what we're next to? And he's like, no, but I bet you do. So I told him. And here's the thing, guys. So I found this campground. I found it because he told me, he's like, find a nice place to stay. And he goes, of course you would. Of course you would find the place next to the state mental hospital for the criminally insane. He's like, you're also the same person who ran through the woods and an RV park in Washington State and thought that was a good idea. And I'm like, I don't make the best choices. So maybe next time you should find it. He's like, maybe you should do better research. Anyway, needless to say, I ended up learning how to do better research.
Oh my God. Okay. I don't mean to like have her tell another story, but I'm curious for personal purposes. Had the bear situation already happened too?
The bear situation.
Where you were hanging out the side of a car videotaping a wild bear?
In the Yukon. No, that came later.
So, making better decisions, guys. It's proof. We all mess up.
So here's the story. So we decide. Okay, so it was right at the start of 2020. The CV or C plus math, like that word we can't say, had hit. And Michael his job was in Alaska, in Kenai. And so we were all going up there. So you guys, I had to have travel papers to be able to go through Canada and get into Alaska because it was essential workers only were the only ones that were allowed from the States to go through Canada. So Michael's company wrote a letter for me saying that I was an essential worker, right? So anyway, we're traveling through Canada, and we went up and we went across Alberta, and then we went across British Columbia, across the Yukon, and into Alaska. Okay, so we're in the Yukon, and it is everything you expect it to be. It is barren, it is desolate, you've got glaciers, and then there's like steam rising off of everything, grizzly bears everywhere. I had never seen a grizzly bear in my life. So anyway, we are driving down the road, and we're in this 1996 F350 diesel. It's got the 4 doors, and we're driving along really slow, and I look over, and there's this grizzly bear just walking next to the truck, like doop, 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 doop. So I get my phone and I roll down the window, and I'm hanging out the window of the truck in the Yukon, videotaping this grizzly bear. You guys, I could see the grizzly bear's eyes. Like, now he was not so close that he could have jumped into the truck, but he was definitely close enough that I could see him. And Michael is like, what the F are you doing? And he like grabs my belt loop and he's hanging on to me, and I'm hanging outside of the truck, and I'm like, I'm getting video of the bear. And so I'm videotaping and I'm quiet, and he like kind of slowed down, and he's like, you realize that bear could eat you. You guys, this is how dumb I was. I was like, I can move faster than the bear. Well, the bear did not eat me, clearly. I got some amazing video. But I also learned that bears are very quiet and very fast. And when we got to Alaska, they told us, they're like, don't try to outswim or outrun a bear because you can't do it. And I told everybody what I did, and they're like, boy, you are special, aren't you? I'm like, but I got the video.
And I'll be honest, when I saw the video because she showed me the video of this,
Yeah.
I was like, girl, you know my father lives in the woods, like in Canada, eh? And he was attacked by a baby bear. Baby!
Right.
That is not a baby.
No, it was a full grown adult bear. Like it was an adult grizzly bear. This thing was like huge. And as it was walking, like you could see its the padding of its paws and its claws and everything. And you know, everybody's first reaction is like, wow. And then they were like, wait, especially if they knew me, they were like, where were you? How did you get that? Were you walking next to? Because that's the other thing. Like when we were staying in El Paso, my sister-in-law, she's like, stay on your side of the fence. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she goes, stay on your side of the fence. I mean, don't go to Mexico. And I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. And I was in El Paso, guys. And so Michael, he calls me up and he's like, hey, meet me and you know, his other coworker for lunch. And I'm like, sure. So I get in my little Mazda Miata convertible with my dog and I drive to the worst part of El Paso. By the way, you guys, if you don't know, all of El Paso is bad, but there are parts that are worse. And I go in, I leave the top down, I leave the dog in the car, I go in and I eat the most amazing Mexican food I've ever had. I was dressed up all cute, right? Had on a cute little sundress and cute little wedge shoes and my cute little bag and come outside and Michael and this other guy, they just stop and they look at me and Michael's like, what did you do? And I'm like, what do you mean, what did I do? And Francisco, he's like, ay, senorita, I look around you. And I'm like, what is going on? And Michael's like, Christy, look around. And you guys, like, this is really where I was. This is not a judgment. Guys in baggy shorts and red bandanas and, you know, white, you know, tank tops and bars on all of the windows and pit bulls on chains in yards that don't have grass. And so they went around and they looked to make sure like nobody, and Michael's like, go home. So I got home. And then after that, we never went to the good little Mexican restaurants anymore. We only went to Denny's because it was just across the parking lot. And I ate Denny's after that.
And because we've learned, or Michael has learned, Christy needs a few warnings firsthand, then we can figure it out from there.
Right. Don't trust Christy to go. You know, he's always like, you know, if when he leaves me alone or if I'm like, I'm going to go walk around town, he's like, oh God, I think that's part of the reason we have Live 360. He said it was so that I knew where he was when he was traveling. I think it's so he knows where I'm at. And if I ever go missing, he can be like, her last known location was this. She probably got in a van because they probably had like fainting goats. And she was like, yes, I want those. Yeah.
Maybe
guys. Right. I mean,
Tampa B Man wonders, when is Christie's book coming out?
You guys, it would be a lot of situations of she's still alive. Like how?
Aaron Smith writes, we really need to encourage her to make one. I'd read it for sure.
I mean, it would be a book of like, and well, you know what? Here's the okay. So when you drive on the Alaska Highway, as you're going to Canada, in the States, we have rest stops, right? And those things are like, there's bathrooms and there's really cool stories about what you're looking at and historical points and all like that. And you can stay overnight and blah, blah, blah. Y'all, on the Alaska Highway, it is a half-circle dirt drive with a trash can and a very well-worn path into the woods, if you get what I'm laying down. So I said if I ever wrote my story, I would call it Peeing in the Woods and Other Adventures. I already have the title.
Ned writes, I actually have a friend who's recruiting people to write write a chapter for her book series she's putting together. I'll send you the info, Stasia. It would be amazing to have y'all stories in there.
Oh, hey, there you go. I actually am not a bad writer.
Not at all. Not at all. I don't know if any of you have already been to the channel already, but Christy wrote a song. It ended up getting to a band and being sung and recorded and all of that. Life happens. This is music industry. A lot of stuff that gets recorded just isn't heard. So Christy decided to release it herself, which is wonderful. The creative process on helping her with the music video was completely, no, it was still wonderful.
It's, you can be honest. It was, no, the song actually, so the song actually got a record deal with Sub Pop Records, which if you guys don't know who Sub Pop is the record label that originally signed Nirvana and the one that also originally signed Soundgarden. Mudhoney is still over there. So it actually got the band a record deal, but the band broke up. So yeah, I'm really proud of it. But yeah, poor Stasia. I was just like, this is my creative process. Here, I have this thing. And then Stasia's like, great. What, do you have any direction? And I'm like, no, but you do a really great job. So you go ahead. And then she just puts together, it's all amazing. And so she put together this, she worked really hard on the video. She put it together and she sent it over to me. And I'm like, no, let me explain what the song's about. And I did. That was it. I was like, no, let me explain what the song's about. So then I explained the story behind the song. And then we did 12 versions of that before we got to the one that we wanted it to be at. She's amazing.
You just learn how to work with it. You don't expect direction. You don't expect structure. You just expect, here's the thing. What thing?
Right.
Oh, wait, I gotta fix the thing out too. No.
Right. Hey, you cannot say I micromanage. If anything, I need a little more. I'm like, go be free.
Hi, Brian Lucas, and hello, Carol. Thank you guys for joining us. We were talking about some of Christie's, how do I put this creatively? Less than saint? No, I won't call it that. Some of Christie's
stupid adventures.
Okay.
It's okay. You can say
it. Situations is what I like to call them.
I'll try to remember to put, as soon as the video ends, I'll try to star a comment with with Crafty Witch's Facebook address if anybody's interested. Where was it?
Was it the Facebook? I've got a YouTube. I missed the Facebook one.
Oh, he posted it here somewhere.
I got the YouTube.
Go lay down. Go lay down.
Shannon Smith. Where is it? Ah, doggone it. It's up there a ways.
Maybe it'll be on YouTube here. Hold on.
It was Jason P posted it, but I did grab it, so I'll try to throw it in as soon as in case anybody on the replay crew is at all interested. Please. Basically, Crafty Witch is Jason P's wife, and she's selling stuff at Comic-Con. So says she's got all kinds of interesting things up. So. I'll go ahead.
Feeling her and I will get along because I have the YouTube page open right now, the link that he had put in. So Ben, check your Facebook after. I made it easier. It just was sent to your Facebook.
Okay.
But it looks like we would have great conversations because I can sit and crochet for hours, hours upon hours. So yeah.
So it is a YouTube. Well, that was Christy, we gotta have a talk sometime.
Do you want to know how one of these things? Okay, so I'll give you. So this is one of the things that I was like, okay. So let me share one more story. So I decided. So I was we were in Washington State, and if you're not familiar, Washington State rains all the time. And normally it doesn't affect me too bad, but it was in the summer. It had been raining for like days and days and days. It finally stopped raining. I went down to the front desk of the hotel that we were staying in, and this is me trying to be sneaky. You guys, I'm not sneaky. I can't be. My face shows everything, so like I try to hide it. I'm not gonna lie. It's why I have a cup of coffee, because if you say something and I'm just like, that's why. I'm not even gonna lie. That's what it's for. It's total prop. Anyway, I go to, I think, oh, I've got time to go for a run, because Michael calls me like clockwork. He calls me when he gets to the job, when he goes to lunch, when he gets back from lunch, and when he's leaving. So there were times that we could figure out how many hours he worked just by looking at my phone records. So I was like, I've got time. And at the time I was running 10 miles a day. So I was like, I want to go for a run. So I go down to the front desk and I'm like, where can I go for a run? And the lady goes, and we were in Anacortes, Washington, and she goes, so it's an island. It's Fidalgo Island. It's like 3 hours, like kind of northeast, northwest of Seattle. And she goes, you can take the Tommy Thompson Trail. And I'm like, okay. She goes, but you have to walk like a block and a half to get to it. But then the trail, you know, goes all the way out to the refinery, which is where my husband was working, which is like 10 miles outside of town. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to run that far. So I put my earbuds in, I put my Runkeeper app on, and I start going. And I'm running, and there's all kinds of people there, and I'm running. And then next thing I know, I'm in the forest, and I'm running through the woods, and there's no people. And then I keep running, and then I'm in an RV park, and like that's a little sketch. And then there's a bay there. So most refineries are next to a body of water so that they can ship the crude oil, or finished oil wherever it needs to go. So then I run across the train trestle, because it was a train trestle that had been turned into a bridge, and I'm in the middle of the bay, and I can see the refinery. And I look at my phone, and my husband is going to be calling me in 5 minutes. And there's no way I'm making it back. Like at this point, I am 10 miles out. I cannot make it back. And I also cannot lie, because I just suck at it. So I'm like, maybe he won't call, maybe he won't call, maybe he won't call. And I can't not answer the phone, because that's going to concern him even more. So he calls, and he was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, and I'm like, I'm out for a run. And he's like, yeah, where are you? And I'm like, I'm on the train trestle. I can see you. He goes, what? And I'm like, I see you. Then I waved, and he's like, and dude, dad voice kicked in. And like, you guys, my husband is 6'2", he's 215, he's got kind of a deep voice anyway. And he's like, okay. He's like, get home. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, I mean it. Get home now and call me when you get there. And I was like, okay. So I thought that I would be like, I was like, so I called my granny, because I was like, no man is going to tell me what to do, So I called my granny, because I thought she would be on my side. She's my granny. No, this is what my granny says to me. She goes, girl, what is wrong with you? Don't you know Ted Bundy is from Washington State? There are serial killers out there. You are going to get kidnapped. You can't outrun them. You listen to your music too loud. You don't pay attention, and somebody could just grab you and no one would know. And I'm like, you're supposed to be on my side. She's like, I want you alive. And I'm like, well, and in my mind, I didn't say this to her, but in my mind, I'm like, well, that backfired. So I'm like, all right, fine. So she goes, call me when you get home. So I get home and I make the 2 phone calls, and I'm like, I'm alive and I'm here, So Michael gets home, and so he's 6'2", I'm like 5 foot on a good day. So he gets home, he takes his work coveralls off, and he comes in and he picks me up and he sets me on the bed, and then he gets his laptop and he's over there and he opens it up and he's just like, I'm like, what is this guy doing? And then he comes over and he puts it on the bed and he goes, look at that. And I'm like, oh my God, what is this? This is horrific. You guys, he Googled a picture of the Black Dahlia and how they found her. Do you guys know who that is? Do you know what that is?
No, not
She
exactly.
is okay, let me enlighten you. She is a lady. This is from like the 20s or 30s, maybe 40s, who was she was an inspiring actress, and they found her dead on the side of the road. She had been cut in half and her insides pulled out. Like, it was very bad. It was a very graphic picture. And he said, if you keep running, this is what's going to happen to you. And I'm like, oh my God. And he goes, you are only allowed to run in gyms from now on and down. And he's like, and actually, no, you can't even run downtown unless I'm with you. So I couldn't run anymore unless we got a gym membership. So then we got gym memberships for a while, and then I just gave up. So yeah.
Aaron Smith,
Yeah.
I feel that if my life depended upon me telling a lie, I'd be dead. Kristen Melinda, dad voice. Tampa B man.
Oh yeah.
Granny's right.
Yeah.
And the thing was, I knew she was right, but I just want. And here's the thing, like, if you have people in your life who are like, oh, that's a great idea, go do that, and your husband is wrong, you should probably reevaluate that, because they really do not have your best interest in mind, right? And so I was thankful, but at the same time, I was like, but no, I mean, I'm a big girl. No, I'm not. Who are we kidding? Like, I am. And if I've got my hair in a ponytail or a bun, like, I'm easily, yeah. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I know that my husband is like, let's get a live 360 so that, you know where I'm at when I'm traveling and you can keep tabs on me. No, I promise you, it's so he keeps tabs on me. I promise. He probably got an AirPod in my purse. It's okay though. It's okay because I get lost all the time anyway. I don't know where the hell I'm at. So
well, she can also catch you on another run being like, no, turn around. He's probably got the setting at like, soon as she leaves this location, please let me know.
Right. I mean, it's everybody's like, what, really? And I'm like, no, I mean, I kind of need it. Like, trust me, it's not him being a jerk. It's that, like I said, I just ask for forgiveness. So I just go do what I want to do. And then I'm like, but I mean, it's kind of like that from the movie The Hangover. But did you die? But did I die? No, I'm okay. And everybody's like, yeah, for now. Now, I have, just so nobody worries about me, I really have learned my lessons, and I am much more conscious, and I do make sure I take my phone with me everywhere I go. That way, if, there's a van full of fainting goats that pulls up, at least somebody knows where I was. Bless it. Oh, I'm a sight, aren't I? It's a mess. I told you guys I was a hot mess. I wasn't kidding.
Tampa B man writes in, I did stuff my granny doesn't know about for a reason.
Right. Well, and it shows you how intelligent I am. I'm like, let's just call and tell on myself.
Kristen Melinda, the mighty Kristen Melinda writes, people can't use dad voice with me, though, because it has the reverse effect. I'm not at all surprised given.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but it was the first time I had really ever heard his dad voice. And I was like, oh my, what? Oh, wow. What's this? Okay. Better listen. Sorry, guys.
Tampa B man writes, oh, Christy.
Yeah.
I'm not passing judgment. Glad we're both still alive.
Right. I mean, like, it's okay. I just figure, you remember how I told you that, like, it's my life's mission to help people to not do, to like understand what to do and not do. And like, okay, like, don't go running through the woods by yourself. It's a bad idea. Check out your campsites really well. And when they say state hospitals, they are not talking about an actual hospital. Make sure you're not next to this, criminally insane asylum.
Search that hospital is what she's saying.
Right. Oh, speaking of can I tell one more story, or do I need to shut up?
No, please tell. Please do. I think people are getting a kick out of these.
Oh, you guys, you're going to get a kick out of this one. Okay, so when we were living in Alaska, Michael was working the night shift, and he was working 7/12s. And the hotel we were staying at was a mom and pop hotel, and they were trying to find housekeepers for the summer. So I was like, hey, let's cut a deal. I'll clean the hotel rooms. I'll be your housekeeper. You just, instead of giving me money, just take it off of the weekly rate. And, we'll do that, because I didn't want to sit at home in the dark while he slept, because one, I can't be that quiet, and two, it would drive me crazy. So I figured this way I can get out of the room, have something to do, like life's okay. So we got to where in the mornings, before I would go to work and after he got off work, he would come home, he would get me in Snickers, and we would go to the beach and we would walk on the beach. So this one particular morning, we're walking on the beach and it's just us, and the tide had come in and it was just starting to go out, and we're walking along and I'm just like, and I look over and I see this brown thing on the sand, like right next to the water. And it's got, like, there's two dark spots and one thing here. And I'm like, why is there a coconut on the shore in Alaska? And, like, you got to remember too, y'all, like, at certain points, you're not that far from Russia. Okay. And so I'm like, God, this is really odd. Like, again, guys, not always the sharpest tool in the shed. So I'm like, wait a minute, you're close to Russia. There is not coconuts growing in Russia. Like, this is not a coconut. So I look again and I go, oh, and Michael's like, what? And I go, there's a human head. There's a human head on the water. So he's thinking like a severed head. No, what it was, we went over and we picked it up and it was a skull. So the jawbone was missing. And what I had seen were the two eye sockets and like the nose cavity. And then it had like all these marks right here. Like, it had really gotten kind of beat up. So we found this human skull on the beach. And so, of course, I took pictures of it because that's what I do. And then,
What are you supposed to do at that point?
Right. Nobody would, if I didn't take pictures of it, no one would believe me. So it was like proof.
They thought you was a coconut.
Right. So I'm like, what do we do with this, And there's a lot of people. So really, there's a lot of people who go missing in Alaska. And so I'm like, we should call the cops. And Michael's like, well, we should pick it up. And so he picked it up and he's like looking at it and he goes, well, we should take it to the police station. So we took it to the police station. And then they're like, you shouldn't have moved it. So you got to take it back and let's see where it was and everything. So then we had to go back and put it back where it was. And they did their thing. I called my granny, same granny that was like, don't run through the woods because Ted Bundy will get you. I'm like, Granny, guess what? She goes, oh, honey child, with you, honey, I don't know what. And I said, we found a human skull on the shore while we were taking our walk this morning. Y'all, I'm not joking. This is what my granny said to me. She goes, well, of course you did, honey, because it's you. What else are you going to find? Like, the woman was not phased. Okay, she was not phased at all. And at this point, she was like 89 years old. Like, she had lived through the Depression. She grew up in a holler in Arkansas. Like, literally, her mom had one arm. Like, she had seen some things. And this did not faze this woman that I called my granny, and I was like, we found a human skull. She's like, of course you did.
You. What else should I hear from you now?
Right? Right, and it did not faze her, and then I reconsidered my life at that point. I was like, what is going on in my world that nobody is fazed by this? They're like, of course you did. Did you keep it? What did you do with it? And I'm like, no, because that's illegal. You can't. No, we gave it to the police. Yeah.
Oh.
So you guys see, like, my life is a series of, like, really crazy things. So people who really know me, when I'm like, guess what? They're like, oh God, do I need to sit down, lay down? Do I need to, like, make sure I'm not taking a drink of something? What's going on here? We don't know. Where are you? Hold on.
Yeah. Which emotion are we running off of so that I can prepare myself for the remainder of this story? I need to understand what life setting I need to be in.
Right. Right.
Aaron Smith writes.
No.
Aaron Smith writes. I'd have loved to have meet Christie's grandmother. And Aaron Smith writes again. Christie, how are you doing on writing supplies? We need that book.
It is hilarious. My poor granny, you guys. My poor granny, she just bless her heart, she just you guys, this is Michael. I'm gonna hop off, answer his because he's calling to tell me he's on his way home. I will be right back. So give me a minute. Talk about me while I'm gone.
So welcome to the loving hot mess I deal with on a regular basis.
Wow. Wow. Just wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the stories I've heard, like, I'm not surprised your grandmother reacted that way. And if you all had ever tuned into what is Live Long and Prosper Now recovery, but was needing a meeting, there's lots of these little tiny stories where you're just like, how? Like, I get myself into situations. I get myself into situations, but I'm just like, I don't understand that situation. How can you explain to me the process leading up to this? Because I need to know what to avoid. Oh.
Oy vey, man alive.
Yeah.
Well, that's wow.
Yeah, the coconut story.
So how you doing in Canada there, Plant?
Doing pretty good. It's, finally warmer. We were down to like 58 degrees for a couple of days here. That's Fahrenheit, and I figured out how to translate it for you guys, so that way I don't confuse everybody. But we were down to like 58 degrees here for a few days. I hadn't had the air conditioners on, nothing. I'm still sitting at 21 degrees or so. What I see now, I need to translate because I didn't do that one. Yeah. 21 Celsius to Fahrenheit. 60, 70. Right now it's 70 inside my place, and that's wonderful. That's just perfect for me. And I haven't had to turn on the air conditioner. So it's early fall in Canada, apparently. It was not this chilly last year. It was not. So all of the wonderful global things occurring.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes. Good grief. So let's see here. We're winding down.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. Plant. What's something that people watching might not know about you?
Oh, I feel like there is a lot. that I am creative, but I have also honed some of that creativity. I was talking about getting back into music earlier. I don't know how many people may have already heard this or not. I know I've said it some other place before, but I have trained in music. I have trained vocally. I've done some music and I've done some, recording. I've done some writing, not solo writing. I've written with somebody else before. But music is a piece of me that I plan on getting back when I'm able to. But I actually have training in the department.
Awesome. Yes. Yeah. Plant's really good. Well, you guys, I just wanted to come back to tell you I have got to hop off because I'm not going to lie. I slacked off and I didn't put anything in the crock pot for dinner. And I didn't get groceries yesterday like I should have. And I didn't get them today like I should have. And Michael's coming home and I'm just like, come home and I'll go to the store and get whatever you want. So, I'm going to have to, like make sure the husband eats.
Well, yeah.
Because he does it. Yeah. I mean, he does a good job of taking care of us. And I enjoy cooking and that kind of thing. But I hate going to the grocery store.
Sure. Well,
not my favorite.
Just remember not to stop at a trailer park. Don't look for any fainting goats.
Right. Yeah, it's a good thing I got the Live 360. Well, Ben, this was so much fun. Thank you for having me on. Thank you, everybody. And I will see you guys again soon. Have a good one.
Bye.
Wow. So it started out just talking about high vibration, but then couldn't help, had to hear some Christie adventures. Pop quiz.
These stories are hilarious. Pop quiz, bring it.
Do mermaids have live babies or lay eggs?
Live babies.
Really?
That's what I think.
What is your biggest pet peeve?
If I'm concentrating, I don't tap me on the shoulder. Don't try and contact me. Like, no. That will drive me insane. Do not bother my concentration. That is my biggest pet peeve.
What is the weirdest thing you've given someone as a gift?
I can't publicly answer that question.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry.
And that's exactly what I was thinking. It's like, you know what? Yeah. That's probably the answer I'll get. If life were a video game, what cheat code would you use the most?
Oh, Motherload from Sims, because that gets you unlimited fun.
What's one question you wish I'd asked?
Oh, wow. That's a good one, Ben. Yeah, basic favorite food.
What is your favorite food?
Curry.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You're from Canada.
I know, but I'm also a mutt. I'm Guyanese, Portuguese, and Chinese.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So, and I'm from British Guiana, so that would be East Indians mixed with Brits. So I grew up on curry, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I also was in relationships with two very white men. My father's, my daughter's father and my son's father. They both enjoy curry, but it wasn't the same. So kind of getting my own space. Curry is my thing. But I like different different types of curry too. Like not just the Guyanese curry. I like Jamaican curry. I like Chinese, Thai. I like the variations of it.
What do you think people misunderstand about you the most?
That I'm always a happy person.
Interesting. This is Plantfreak.
I come across as very happy all the time. I have reasons to figure out ways to always be happy. Let's just put it that
way. This is Plantfreak. I need to do the Aaron Smith Levin at some point thing, or he pops up people's channels, but truth be told, I'm lazy.
Sunrise Dawn also put my channel in the chat earlier. don't expect much from my channel. There's some shorts and stuff on there that my son and myself have created. And then I honestly focus on CWC a lot, conversations with Christie. So that is where most of my YouTube focus goes.
Yeah, and Plant is has her own little company that she does producing YouTube. So yeah, if anybody's starting a channel, give you Plantfreak. She's from Canada. I don't know if she is cereal soup.
Yes, cold
Oh,
soup.
not bad, not bad. Okay, I'll go with it. I'll accept it. Cool. All righty, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. It has just been it's started out talking about high vibration, and then but yes, and I kind of like shows that do that because ADHD. So
Yeah. It's perfect. It's perfect.
I do hope everybody has themselves a great day. I still haven't come up with a good saying to end my stream with. So, I mean, Carol's got peace, y'all. Of course, now she does the Vulcan thing. Yeah,
There you go.
I can't do it with my, which is odd. I'm actually ambidextrous. I should be able. Oh well, who knows? Pick my nose with. Oh, never mind. But I do hope you all have a great day. I will post Jason P's a Crafty Witch has a channel. She's putting stuff on YouTube. I should have grabbed that. I don't know if that's been
I
dropped
sent
though.
both of them to you via Messenger, the Facebook
Okay.
page and the YouTube page.
Okay, yeah, she's selling stuff at Comic-Con. So yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll drop the address to that in the comments and I'll pin it. I do hope you people all have yourself a most awesome day. Thank you so much for joining us and inflicting yourselves upon us. Well, I do hope everybody has a great day. Take care, y'all. Come on.